Hi. Are we here, Peter? Oh, hi. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so
we are not just a show about broads today. We have a bro in the room.
A bro representing.
Woo woo.
Yes.
Well, welcome.
Give it to us.
What am I doing?
It's a viral video sensation
on the radio.
Special.
Yeah.
On the radio. But, on YouTube as well. And we're also on Periscope because you know how I love to Periscope.
And that's why I'm going to have my back to the
Kim
camera.
gives me such a hard time for the Periscoping. Ladies first.
Yeah.
Jess.
Hi.
Sanfilippo.
You got
I want to say
it.
Sanfilippo.
It's like a party.
Well, you can. It
You
just
have
would
to
be wrong.
get close to your mic, become one with the mic.
Yeah, you got to hug it.
Because they make us hug it because we tend to go like this and then nobody can hear us. Your video,
Yes.
I Can't Get Some Peace.
Yes.
It's a parody of I Can't Feel My Face. I can't feel my face after I watch it because it's so funny.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we have Mikki in the house. Oh my gosh, Mikki Willis.
That's right.
Your video is going everywhere, or is everywhere, with your son and his lovely Little Mermaid doll, which is clearly he likes redheads. So,
Clearly, yes.
Yeah, and he's cute. So
Or women with tails.
only with tails.
yeah.
All right, because we're redheads. But it's amazing. So we're so happy to have both of you here because you're just all over your internet sensations happening right now. So Kim had an interesting question. We were talking about this the other day. Do you go into, and this is just a casual jump all over each other, did you go into it like I'm going to make a viral video? Let's start with you, Mikki.
Not whatsoever.
No.
No, I've been releasing little 1 minute, 2 minute videos of me and my son, mostly on the way to school, since he was born, actually. We've been making little videos and putting them just on Facebook, just for my friends.
Right.
And this was the first video that suddenly I started to watch the numbers and we were like, what is happening? I have 5,000 friends, but 10,000 people have seen this.
Wait, why do you have
What's going on?
5,000 friends? I'm feeling a little friend envy. Let's just focus on that. Friend envy.
She just said she has friend envy because Kim will meet somebody. We'll be out and we'll meet somebody, and then she'll get a friend request. She's like, "We just met. We don't have to be Facebook friends." So
Clearly, Mikki does that.
So that's why Kim doesn't have that many friends.
That's funny.
But so you saw that people were sharing and
Saw that it was going definitely beyond my reach, and then suddenly it was on BuzzFeed and these major news outlets, and it was pretty much a shock.
Well, it's interesting. I went back and
put people into what the video is.
Okay. So, Mikki, why don't you tell us, and so I don't paraphrase for you.
Well, okay, so my son received 2 identical toys for his birthday, and so I said, let's go back to the toy store, a little local toy store in Ohio where we live, and let's return the duplicate for something else. And so we went into the toy store, and I went straight to the counter and started to negotiate the deal with the guy because we didn't have a receipt to say, can we return this? And now my son, this store is split into the girls section to the left and boys to the right.
Right.
So after the guy said, yeah, sure, no problem, I turn around, I look, and Azai was nowhere in the boys section. So, first thought I had was, oh my God, did he run out? He's only 4 years old.
Right.
And I yelled his name, and it came from the other side. So I go over there, and he's standing in front of this display of Barbies. And he goes, I want this. And I go, I don't have any issue with that at all. But I did stop for a minute and had to consider, because we've been aware of not wanting to teach. We have 2 boys, not wanting to have them imprinted with the idea that all women should look like a Barbie.
Right.
So I looked, and there was no variation of skin color or size or type. So I go, well, do you want to look around, buddy, and see maybe if there's another, something else? And I kind of pointed towards another doll section that had a little more versatility. And he goes, I want that mermaid right there. And so I said, okay, get it. And everything was fine, but then we went out to have lunch, and 2 women noticed that it was a boy playing with this doll. He was absolutely, incredibly intrigued by it. He just got it. And they kind of shook their head and rolled their eyes. And so when we were done with lunch...
And this is in California even.
Well, this is in Ohio.
Yeah.
Which is like, what?
Yeah.
Must have been tourists. And so when we got into the car, I was just inspired, and I turned my camera on to basically tell my sons that I am there to love them unconditionally, no matter what they choose in life, no matter what direction their life goes into, to be honest, and that I will love them no matter what.
Right.
And it was just,
His
my
face
declaration
in that
to my
video,
son.
Priceless. Yeah.
He's so
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
He's so happy.
Yeah.
And we were talking before the show that I have a daughter who is the same. She just breaks down, those gender stereotypes. I mean, she's got a faux hawk right now, and she wears what she wants to wear, and the button-down shirts from her brother, she'll steal them, and I'll be honest, I struggled I didn't grow up in Ohio. I didn't grow up so I struggled at first, and I've come to this place, my journey has taken me here, but there's no better look on a child's face when they feel that their parent sees them for who they are. I've
So true.
never
Yeah.
experienced anything like that I have in her face.
You updated because I did my little research, but on your website, Elevate, right? It's Elevate.
Elevate.us,
Okay,
yeah.
so you're a filmmaker. We can talk about that a little bit later. But on your website, you did a little update about the videos, about the emails that you've received and the letters, and you wrote something. I don't want to ruin my own quote, but you said, people are crying out for the freedom to be whom and what they were born to be. The human spirit can no longer be contained. And I love that because you said it was a common thread throughout all of the responses that you received. And I think that people forget that message. So it kind of speaks to what Jackie's saying about, just the elation that a child feels when you've accepted them. And I love that message started so young with your boys.
Yeah,
and
thank
were
you.
you surprised that people had that reaction to it?
I was totally surprised. It didn't surprise me that this wouldn't be a subject that people would care about, but I didn't know that it was so global. I've received messages in different languages and from all over the world, and the video's now been translated into 6 or 7 different languages. And all of these messages, which we just started going through this past week, it's amazing. I have 65-year-old men saying, thank you so much. I wanted to dance ballet when I was a child, and my father basically said he would disown me if I did. And so I started, he's 67, he said, I started ballet at 65.
Oh,
That's fantastic.
All these beautiful stories of people saying, this has nothing to do with our gender or anything. It's what we want to express with our life, and if that is suppressed, other things happen in its place. I always say suppression breeds rebellion and depression. Because if we're not given that space, and I think a lot of people get very confused with that too, because they watch my video and they go, "Oh, you're just going to let your kids choose to play in traffic or whatever they want, whatever they choose to do." And
I got the same types of comments with my
Yeah.
daughter's hair, a few years ago, and it was like, "What, you going to let her run the house?" I was like, how do you teach a child, and it's a little bit separate, but how do you teach a girl to own her body and to not be abused or
That's right.
sexually taken advantage of when I won't even let her be in charge of her own hair?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
with your boys, it's like, what they might be good dads, or they may be
Yeah.
we're teaching them nurturing and to
Right.
feed their spirits. And I love that the juxtaposition of these two videos, though, because yours is like the acceptance is yours is like, get out of my house, which parents can relate to both.
I know I'm sitting here, I'm listening to Mikki, and I'm like smiling, and I'm nodding. I'm like, just so, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I was sick of my kid at the end of summer break.
Choose to leave.
But we can all relate to that too. I mean, we
Right.
need a break. But so you're listening to the song one day on the radio, and you're like singing other lyrics. Like, how did this all
Right.
happen?
So one day on the radio is kind of like an understatement because that song plays like
Oh my
5
gosh,
times
I
an
can't feel
hour.
my
I love
face.
that song still.
I can't feel my
So,
ears after.
yeah. So, I had heard it a bunch, and I was just listening to the lyrics and things like that. And I went, for some reason, at the tail end of summer, I mean, most parents can agree, especially if you've had that taste of like your kid is in full day school,
Right.
and they're out of that house. And I personally work from home, so I do everything that I do from home. So it makes it a little challenging
Yes.
when the balance becomes a little trickier. So he was home, and by working from home, I also afford myself the opportunity to amend my work schedule when he's out of school.
Right.
And I get to shift when I'm working and when I'm not working, and I'm not as tethered to, a 9 to 5 schedule.
Right.
So as a result of that, it meant I neglected a lot of things. I neglected binge watching ridiculous television.
Twinkie eating. I love that.
Twinkies and dusting, because, a sparkly baseboard is much less important than, a pillow fort in the living room for a week.
Right.
So, I heard that song and I was like, taking stock of everything. You know, it comes to the end and it all becomes cumbersome.
Right.
What you have to do, you know, eating Twinkies is a lot of hard work. So
Do they still? They went off the market. Are they back on?
and
She
I'll
saved
say-
hers from 20 years ago. They're
I
still
know,
good.
they hold up real well. No, I actually went to Target and that was the last box on the shelf. So
Really?
I think that they're rationed, but I ate one and threw the rest away. Shh.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
I did. But yeah, so for me, and what's interesting is, you know, I've received an immense amount of positive feedback. The positivity, I think we share that.
Right.
Though our messages are slightly different.
A little bit.
You didn't want to contain your human spirit. That's what this is about.
Right,
So
right.
we're
Exactly.
good. Yeah.
So,
Good one, Kim.
I got it.
yeah. So
I'm all about the roundabouts here. Yeah. That's all I'm good for.
So the whole essence too of like how I wrote it, and if you really pay attention to the lyrics, it's less about, oh my God, my kid's driving me crazy, get out of my hair,
Right.
and it's more about, wow, look how much I can do with, but how much I can have of so many different things with a kid, you know, and I can do this and I can split my time between both and I can have my interests and I can have that time with my child. And it was just kind of like a fun, more about me and reveling in all of the great stuff I can do on both sides, with my kid and without my kid,
Right.
than, dear God, please leave
Right.
me
There was
alone.
nothing negative about it, but
Yeah.
both of you, though, it hasn't been all, you know, sunshine and unicorns or double rainbows. See what I did there? It's coming up later.
Irony.
But there has been some negative. I saw one comment from you, Mikki, that somebody said, like, I'd kill myself or I'd kill my son if...
Yeah, and there was actually...
And then you actually responded to that person.
I did, yeah. And
Good.
there was another person, a very conservative Christian, who put out a video, a rant video, where he said, "You want to teach your kids, you got to put a gun in their hand and teach them how to shoot a gun." And he put a gun in his 7-year-old son's hand.
Yeah.
And I wrote him back too, and everybody I wrote back and just said, "Let's have an adult dialogue about this. Let's not trash each other. You're different. I'm different than
Right.
you. I'll never agree
Right,
with you. You'll
right.
never agree with me. But is there some place where we can dialogue about this?" And CBS saw that and had us both on the Doctor Show.
Right.
So that actually airs on the 24th of me and the conservative Christian.
Wow.
But were you
dealing with
you
this.
said one of the things that
So
you
we
said,
had you first.
one of the things that you said, you were surprised that people were frustrated or upset that you used the word sexuality with in front of your kid. So tell
Yeah.
us about that.
Well, first of all, I had to go in myself and to really dig into what is the definition of the word sexuality, because some people were saying you can't tell your kids they can choose what sex they want to be at that age. You're going to confuse them. And the definition of sexuality is a person's capacity for sexual feelings. And so, in essence, what I was saying was, to the future of my boys, because we say a lot of things to babies, right? We ask them, we talk to newborn babies
Right.
when we know they can understand what
right.
we're saying, right?
Right.
But it was me talking to my sons and letting them know, making a vow to myself as much as to them, that when they get old enough to have those things, and I think it comes a lot sooner than parents probably want to admit. They start realizing that they're sexual beings and
Right.
that they were born to procreate, and that things start happening in their little bodies. And so my wife and I are very open to have these discussions whenever it arises, and not waiting until they're 16 or whatever it is.
Too late.
It's too late. Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of people did respond very confused that you shouldn't be mentioning that word. And for me, it's like, I think we're way too suppressed around the subject itself of sexuality, that we can't mention that in front of a child because it's a very natural thing. But I think we've all been so programmed to think that it's a dirty thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I know growing up as a young boy and having my friends that weren't educated, they turned to pornography to learn about sex and chivalry.
Right.
And that's not the best place to get it.
No.
I do counseling with teenagers, and what's one of the things that we talk about with our parents is that we're very open about our conversations about drug, alcohol, sex, whatever it is, because the more you talk about it, the less stigma that gets attached and the more education and good choices that come with it. But there are people that reject that completely, because if you talk about sex, you give kids permission to go have it. If you talk about suicide, you're telling a kid to go do it. So there's this real need to break down conversations around things that kids are already thinking about anyway. And if you don't talk about it, then, like you said, they go to the internet, they'd find, unfortunate or unnecessary places to get their information, and they make bad choices.
Or they get it from friends who are getting a totally different message from their
and don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And I'm all about that, but I know that people were frustrated with sexuality, and I don't know that that's ever going to change. I think people are just, that's inbred in some people, and that's unfortunate, but I love the dialogue that keeps happening.
Right. And I love that, because there are a lot of people who are liberal minded and whether it's gay marriage and gender and all of that.
Wow.
I know, I just got a message to stay close to the mic. It threw me off for a second. But, I do notice, though, and I'm very, very socially liberal, that a lot of people who feel the same way are so combative to Christians. They're so, you're closed-minded and you're this and you're that. And the talk about the politics and the Republic, I just love that you didn't do that. You didn't bash them because they didn't agree with you, because the whole point of this is that they may not agree with your choices as a parent or your son's choices in what he likes. But let's be respectful and let's have a conversation and not let's just trash each other on the internet.
Yeah.
So if we could do more of that, I think that you, especially with so much attention on this, thank you for blazing this trail that there can be a conversation and not just this Ann Coulter, I'm trying to think of somebody equally as, repulsive on the other side.
Thank you, because that really did become, we've all been witnessing right now the polar opposites of the Bernie Sanders and the Donald Trumps, rising to the surface here of having two entirely different languages.
Right.
And so I have seen this as a catalyst, as an opportunity to say, when do we start finding a language where we can totally disagree, but not be at war? It's in there. It's in us to have that. So what is it? And that's become, for me, more important even than the topic of the video, is engaging with the people, the haters that come at me, and there have been several. Yeah. Just to say, okay, look, I'm not angry, and I'm not going to take that, but I want to learn more about where you come from. Right. And I've made friends with most of them. And some of them have posted our private messages to say, I want you to know what's happened on the back end here that the public isn't aware of, that we're actually engaged in this awesome dialogue now.
Yeah, that happened to me last year. I had a bunch of haters coming at me for something, and I was left most of them at the wayside, and then a couple of them I engaged in because I felt like there was a moment that I could flip them. And I had this great dialogue, and then they're like, I'm so sorry that I came at you. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. And I wanted, because people, they're sharp tongued and people just react without having all the information. And I love that, especially with Mikki's, and I don't want to alienate you, Jessi, with Mikki's video, people glommed on to the gender issue. And I love that the backstory was that you didn't want to sexualize women and that you didn't want to teach that. And nobody knows that, that didn't come out in your video because no one took the time to read and to research and be obsessive and stalkery like I was. So,
and you should not listen to last week's episode because we totally did not call you hot.
Awkward. Anyway, so, and that's usually what happens to the people. They don't know beyond the snippet. And, I lost my train of thought now, Jackie. Thanks a lot.
But it's, and so you got some negative too, though.
I did.
You're a terrible mother.
I'm just a bad mom. And, like I was saying earlier, the positive has so insanely and kind of to the shock of a lot of people I know that have been around the YouTube culture for a while and have seen the trends of virality and the instances of it, that most of it was positive, and the negative that did come was just like Mikki. I engaged them, and I engaged them in a way where I said what I said, and I didn't make any sort of baseless assumptions, which were clear that were being made to me and the piece that I'd made. And at the end of every one, I thanked them for allowing me to share my side and for them sharing theirs.
Wow.
So.
That's what it is, because I think people put the videos out there and it's a one-way street. It's like, here's my video, you can have your comments, but I'm not going to engage. I'm not going, and I know we have to go to break, but when we come back too, we want to talk about that woman who did the Dear Fat People video and the backlash against that. Yeah. But you're listening to Broadscast, and we will be right back.